Love is unpredictable. It does not ask for permission before it enters our lives, nor does it wait until we are fully prepared. It arrives suddenly, often when we least expect it, and in ways we could never have imagined. Some people spend years searching for love, only to stumble upon it in the simplest of moments: a smile exchanged with a stranger, a conversation that lingers longer than it should, or a chance encounter that changes everything. Others plan their entire lives with clear expectations of who they think they will love, only to be surprised when their heart chooses someone completely different. Love does not follow rules, and that is precisely what makes it one of the most powerful and beautiful experiences of being human. The unpredictability of love is both exciting and humbling. It teaches us that no matter how much control we try to exert over our lives, there are forces beyond our understanding that guide us toward connection. We cannot schedule when love will appear. We cannot write it into our calendars or design it to fit perfectly into our careers, goals, or timelines. It comes when it is meant to, and often in the very moments when we believe we are too busy, too hurt, or too closed off to receive it. Love has a way of finding the cracks in our defenses, slipping through and showing us that our hearts are still capable of opening even after disappointment or loss. The unpredictability of love also reminds us that it does not always look like the stories we tell ourselves. Many of us grow up with certain ideas of what love should be: fairy tales, perfect relationships, or a partner who checks every box. But love laughs at our lists and shatters our expectations. The person we fall in love with may not look like the person we once imagined. They may come from a different background, live in a different place, or carry experiences we never considered. And yet when love happens, those differences melt away, leaving only the undeniable truth that we have found something real. Love does not care about categories, appearances, or stereotypes. It only cares about the bond between two souls. At times, the unpredictability of love can be unsettling, even frightening. It can throw our plans into disarray or challenge the stability we thought we had built. Falling in love when we least expect it often means facing choices we never anticipated, deciding whether to follow our heart or hold on to the path we had mapped out. But within this uncertainty lies the magic of love. It transforms our lives not by fitting neatly into them, but by expanding them. It forces us to grow, to reconsider what truly matters, and to take risks that might lead to extraordinary happiness. This unpredictability is also what makes love universal, because it can happen to anyone at any time. It bridges differences and connects people across boundaries that would otherwise keep them apart. A fleeting encounter on a train, a friendship that blossoms into something deeper, or even a love that rekindles years later. All of these stories remind us that love has its own timing, its own rhythm, and its own way of finding us when we least expect it. We cannot resist it, and we cannot force it. We can only accept it when it comes. In the end, the unpredictability of love is a gift. If we could control when and how it happens, love would lose its wonder. It is precisely because it surprises us, shakes us, and rewrites the script of our lives that it holds such power. Love's unpredictability keeps us humble, hopeful, and open to the unknown. It reminds us that life is not just about the plans we make, but about the unexpected moments that take our breath away. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all is this: when love arrives, no matter how unpredictable, it is always worth embracing. Love knows no boundaries because it is the most universal of all human experiences. It is not confined to rules written by society, nor is it limited by the expectations we create in our minds. When two hearts connect, barriers of culture, language, age, and background lose their strength. Love is not something we can measure by logic or analyze through statistics. It is an energy, a force that goes beyond reason. It arrives where it wishes, in the lives of people who may never have expected it, and it flourishes in places others may never understand. The very beauty of love lies in its ability to transcend limitations. Throughout history, stories have shown us that love refuses to be caged. People from different countries and traditions have come together, despite the disapproval of their societies, to build lives rooted in affection and loyalty. Love breaks down the walls of prejudice and teaches us that the soul does not carry a passport. The heart does not ask for a birth certificate or a bank balance. When it recognizes another heart, it simply knows, and that knowing is more powerful than any rule created by human hands. Love reminds us that at our core we are not separated by labels, but united by the same longing to give and receive care. Love also ignores the boundaries of time. For some, it blossoms in youth, where everything feels fresh and exciting, and the whole world seems open. For others, it may come later, after years of waiting, healing, or even after losing hope. It may happen between two people who are just starting their journey in life. or between two souls who have carried the weight of many years. Age is not a barrier, because love is not about the number of years lived, but about the depth of connection felt. In the same way, love can grow between people who have walked different paths, because what matters is not where they have been, but where their hearts wish to go together. True love also dissolves the boundary of perfection. We are often taught to look for ideal qualities in a partner, to create a checklist of what we believe love should look like. But real love rarely follows that script. Instead, it finds beauty in imperfection. It sees flaws and accepts them not as weaknesses, but as parts of what make a person real. This acceptance is what makes love so powerful. It is not blind, but rather it sees everything and chooses to stay. Boundaries based on appearances, wealth, or status fade quickly when genuine care and understanding take root. Another way love proves its boundless nature is in its ability to challenge us. It invites us to step outside our comfort zones and see the world from another's eyes. Sometimes it calls us to let go of pride, prejudice, or rigid beliefs. It stretches us to be more patient, more forgiving, and more compassionate than we thought we could be. Love refuses to stay trapped within narrow walls of selfishness. It expands us, shaping us into fuller human beings. In this way, love does not just erase boundaries between people, it erases boundaries within ourselves. Perhaps the most powerful truth is that love makes us remember our shared humanity, no matter who we are. We all feel the need to be understood, valued, and cherished. Love is the great equalizer, teaching us that beneath all the differences we display on the surface, every person carries the same desire in their heart. That is why love can happen between strangers from different worlds, and why it feels familiar even when it arrives in the most unexpected form. Love knows no boundaries because it was never meant to. It is a gift that defies limitations, a bridge that connects what seems unconnectable, and a force that reminds us of what truly matters. In the end, love is not bound by who we are, where we come from, or what we look like. It only asks that we open ourselves to it, and when we do, it reveals the limitless beauty of the human heart. Love is about connection, not perfection, in a world where so much emphasis is placed on appearances, achievements, and flawless standards. It is easy to believe that love is something we earn by being perfect, or something we find only when circumstances align just right. Yet the deepest truth is that love grows not from perfection, but from authenticity, vulnerability, and the courage to connect with another human being as we truly are. Perfection is an illusion. No one can sustain it forever, and the pursuit of it often leaves us exhausted, insecure, and distant from the people around us. When we chase perfection, we are really chasing approval, and that approval is fleeting. But when we embrace connection, we build something lasting. Connection is the invisible thread that ties one heart to another, the silent understanding that says, I see you as you are, and I accept you. The essence of love is not found in polished surfaces or curated images. It is found in the quiet moments of being real with each other. It is in the unguarded laughter after a long day, in the comfort of knowing someone remembers the little details about us, in the willingness to listen when words are hard to find. Love thrives when two people drop their masks and allow their true selves to be seen. This is why the most beautiful relationships are not between perfect people, but between people who choose to be genuine. The cracks, the imperfections, the struggles, these are not obstacles to love, but the very things that make it richer and more human. Perfection demands performance, but connection asks for presence. When we are chasing perfection, we feel we must impress, prove, or constantly show our worth. But in connection, all that is needed is to simply be. Love does not ask us to be flawless. It asks us to be honest. It is the vulnerability of saying, this is who I am, and discovering that someone stays not because we are perfect, but because we are real. That kind of bond creates safety, and in that safety, love grows deeper. Furthermore, when we stop obsessing over perfection, we give others permission to do the same. Our relationships become places of freedom rather than pressure. We no longer expect our partners, friends, or loved ones to live up to impossible standards, and instead, we celebrate them for their uniqueness. In this way, connection becomes the foundation for compassion and understanding. Love based on perfection easily breaks when mistakes happen, but love rooted in connection has the resilience to endure storm. It bends but does not shatter, because it was never built on fragile ideals, but on real human closeness. At its heart, connection means we are seen, heard, and valued. It does not matter whether our lives are polished or messy, whether we have succeeded or failed. What matters is that in the presence of love, we feel we belong. We feel safe to share our dreams and our fears, our strengths and our weaknesses. That sense of belonging is what humans crave more than perfection. It nourishes the soul in a way that superficial admiration never could. When we remember that love is about connection and not perfection, we release ourselves from the constant pressure of being enough in someone else's eyes. We begin to understand that we were enough all along, not because we were flawless, but because we were willing to love and be loved as we are. The most enduring relationships are not picture perfect. They are beautifully real. They are marked by forgiveness after mistakes, laughter after struggles, and patience in times of weakness. Perfection fades, but connection endures. And in the end, it is connection that makes love truly timeless. Love challenges and transforms us in ways that no other human experience can. It enters our lives not only as a source of joy, but also as a mirror that reflects back to us who we truly are. When we love, we are forced to face both our strengths and our weaknesses. We discover the parts of ourselves that are patient, kind, and nurturing, but we also confront the sides that are insecure, jealous, or afraid. In this way, love is not simply an emotion. It is a journey of growth and transformation. One of the first challenges love presents is vulnerability. To truly love someone, we must open ourselves, sometimes risking rejection or disappointment. This is not easy for anyone. Our natural instinct is to protect ourselves from pain, but love asks us to lower those walls and trust another human being. In doing so, we learn courage. We begin to understand that vulnerability is not weakness, but strength. It takes great bravery to show someone our flaws, our fears, and our deepest hopes. Yet this is the only way authentic love can grow. Love also teaches us patience. Relationships are not built in a day, and they are never without conflict. Differences in personality, values, or habits often arise, testing our ability to compromise and to listen. In those moments, love pushes us beyond selfishness. It asks us to put aside our pride, to see from another's perspective, and to meet in the middle. This is not always comfortable, but it transforms us into more understanding and compassionate individuals. We realize that true connection is not about winning arguments, but about building bridges of respect and harmony. Another way love transforms us is by teaching forgiveness. No relationship can exist without mistakes, whether big or small. We hurt each other with words, with silence, or with actions we later regret. Love challenges us to forgive, not because it is easy, but because holding on to resentment destroys the bond we cherish. Through forgiveness, we learn to let go of our ego and to prioritize peace over pride. This process softens our hearts and makes us more human, more capable of offering grace, not just to our partners, but to the world around us. Love also has the power to awaken parts of us we never knew existed. It inspires creativity, fuels dreams, and gives us the courage to take risks. Many people discover their truest passions or deepest strengths when they are in love because they feel supported and encouraged. Love becomes a force of motivation, reminding us that we are capable of becoming more than we thought we could be. It transforms ordinary life into something extraordinary, not by changing the circumstances, but by changing the way we see them. Of course, love also challenges us by testing our limits. Sometimes it arrives in complicated situations, or it forces us to confront our fears of loss and change. Loving someone deeply means we are never the same afterward, whether the relationship lasts forever or not. Even when love brings pain, it leaves behind lessons that shape us. We learn resilience. We discover what truly matters, and we often come out wiser and stronger than before. In the end, love is both a challenge and a gift. It pushes us beyond our comfort zones, stretches our capacity for empathy, and teaches us that the heart has endless room to grow. It transforms us from people who only think of ourselves into beings who care, nurture, and connect on a deeper level. Love, in its truest form, makes us more human. It shows us that while it may not always be easy, the challenges it brings are the very lessons that help us evolve into our best selves. Love requires openness, because love cannot survive where walls are built too high or where fear has the final word. To love is to step into vulnerability, to allow another person to see beyond our defenses, and to trust that even in our imperfections, we are worthy of affection and connection. Many people desire love, yet they resist it when it appears. They want the warmth without the risk, the closeness without the exposure, the joy without the fear of loss. But true love does not thrive under such conditions. Love demands openness, because only in openness can two souls meet in their full humanity. Openness means we do not control every detail of how love arrives. It means releasing the idea that love must look a certain way, come at a certain time, or be embodied in a certain kind of person. Love often surprises us by appearing in forms we never imagined. The openness required is not just to another person, but also to life itself, to its unpredictability, its hidden gifts, and its way of bringing people together when the time is right. When we cling to rigid expectations, we may miss the very love that was meant for us. There is also an openness of the heart that is deeply personal. Many people carry wounds from the past, disappointments, or betrayals that make them fearful of loving again. The pain creates armor, a shield that protects but also isolates. To open the heart again is an act of courage, a statement that says, I will not let fear dictate my future. It does not mean forgetting what hurt us, but choosing not to let those wounds define our capacity to give and receive love. In that choice, we reclaim power over our lives and welcome love back into our story. Openness requires honesty. If we hide behind masks, pretend to be someone we are not, or refuse to reveal what we truly feel, love cannot grow. Authentic love thrives in truth. It may be uncomfortable to share our vulnerabilities, our dreams, or our insecurities, but in doing so, we invite intimacy. We give another person the chance to love us, not for the version we show to the world, but for who we really are. That kind of openness creates bonds that are far stronger than superficial attraction or temporary excitement. Love also requires openness to change. Relationships are not static, they evolve. Two people must adapt, learn, and sometimes unlearn together. This flexibility, this willingness to embrace growth is another form of openness. Without it, love suffocates under the weight of stubbornness and rigidity. By remaining open to growth, we allow love to transform us, to expand our capacity for kindness, and to shape us into better versions of ourselves. Finally, love requires openness not only between two individuals, but also within the larger human experience. When we open ourselves to love, we open ourselves to the recognition that love is universal. It is not limited to romance. It can be found in friendships, family bonds, compassion for strangers, and even love for humanity as a whole. To open the heart is to connect with the truth that love is not scarce, but abundant, flowing through countless forms and expressions. In the end, openness is not weakness, it is strength. It is the willingness to risk pain in exchange for the possibility of joy, to risk rejection in exchange for belonging, and to risk uncertainty in exchange for the profound beauty of connection. Without openness, love cannot enter. With it, love can happen to anyone, anytime, with anyone. Love unites humanity because at its core, love is the universal language that every human being understands. Regardless of culture, religion, or background, we all carry within us the deep desire to love and to be loved. It is one of the few experiences that transcends words, boundaries, and even time. When two people fall in love, the rest of the world fades for a moment, and what remains is the shared recognition that they are not alone. That is why love is often described as a force that heals divisions and builds bridges. It connects strangers, unites families, and brings communities together in ways that nothing else can. When we pause to reflect, we see that history itself has been shaped by love. People have crossed oceans, defied laws, and even challenged entire societies just to preserve or express it. This courage comes from the recognition that love is worth every sacrifice because it is the most authentic expression of what it means to be human. Even in times of war or conflict, stories of love emerge. Love that persists despite hatred, love that extends compassion to the other side, love that protects, nurtures, and restores. In this way, love becomes more than an individual feeling. It becomes a collective reminder of our shared humanity. What makes love so unifying is that it does not discriminate. Love does not ask for passports, skin color, bank accounts, or achievements. It does not demand perfection or conformity. Instead, it sees beyond the surface and reaches for the essence of who we are. That is why people from completely different worlds can fall deeply for each other, because love does not need sameness. It thrives on connection. This connection creates a kind of invisible thread that ties lives together, reminding us that we are all part of a much larger whole. In our everyday lives, love unites humanity in small but powerful ways. A parent's love binds generations, passing on values and dreams. The love between friends creates bonds that provide strength in difficult times. Even simple acts of kindness, smiling at a stranger, helping someone in need, showing patience, are all expressions of love in action. Each time we choose love over indifference or compassion over judgment, we strengthen the fabric of human connection. We remind ourselves and others that no one is truly isolated. We are part of a greater story that is written by love. At the same time, love challenges the barriers we often build between ourselves and others. Fear, prejudice, and pride can divide societies, but love works quietly and persistently to break those walls. When we love, we are reminded of the humanity in those who are different from us. We learn to see them not as threats, but as fellow travelers in this journey of life. That shift in perspective has the power to change not only personal relationships, but entire communities. A society built on love is one that values justice, kindness, and respect, because those are the natural fruits of genuine human connection. Ultimately, love unites humanity by reminding us of the truth we often forget in the noise of daily life. We are all seeking the same things. We all want peace, acceptance, and a chance to share our lives with others who value us. Love strips away the illusions of separation and reveals that beneath our differences, we are profoundly the same. And in that realization lies our greatest strength, for if love can reach across boundaries, soften hearts, and transform lives, then it can also be the very thing that guides humanity toward a future defined not by division, but by unity. Love is not just a feeling between two people, it is the force that binds us all together.